How's it going, everyone, and welcome to TWD, or using the I Hope series' full name, Today We Disassemble, where your local idiot actually puts on the thinking cap for just long enough to capture your attention with analysis that nobody gives two shits about. To better explain what this series is about, allow me a bit more of your time than the other episodes of this series will. TWD aims to be a series of videos much shorter than my usual LPs or top 10s, where I will look into a character, giving my honest opinion on them, and encouraging you all to do the same in the comments regarding the character in question. That's as simple as I could keep it, and I'm pretty sure there's not a whole lot of room for interpretation in that explanation. Just keep in mind this will keep some elements of the structure of my top 10s, independently of the character or franchise I'm focusing on. Yeah, that's another good point. This is not strictly bounded to any one game, nor any one franchise. Although, if I start with a game, I will focus on that first before moving on to another. Got all that? If you don't, please let me know in the comments. I'll try to explain as much as I can and as thoroughly as possible. That being said, allow me to introduce you to today's subject.
Before we go any farther, I guess I should introduce myself. My name's Makoto Naegi.
Yeah, Makoto Naegi. That does mean I'm starting with Danganronpa 1, but hey, I'm sure you guys will be looking forward to what I have to say about the character sensibly a year and 2 months after the Danganronpa 1 top 10. This goes without saying, but there are spoilers for the entire main series titles. Minus Danganronpa S. I'm watching you, Spike. Give me the game. So, I believe that with all of the above being said, we can start with this. Let's give it a whirl, everyone. Makoto Naegi is, as I'm sure like 99% of the people watching know, the protagonist of the original Danganronpa title. His talent is Ultimate Lucky Student. Or, well, it's supposed to be. Now, being the main character usually means that it's pretty tough to acquire information reliably enough. Thankfully, Danganronpa is a series that gives every single character a chance, including protagonists. That being said, when I mean praises to a character, I can't really say I can talk about the protagonist part. However, that can be left till later on. In the grand scheme of things, Makoto's, well, he said it best himself, incredibly average at pretty much everything. And yet, I think that it's the fact that he's so average within a cast that goes from the wealthiest dude on the planet to the craziest dude on the planet that makes him stand out as a bona fide Danganronpa protagonist. Like it or not, Makoto set the standards for future protagonists to use. And yes, that is including Kaede and Shuichi. It's honestly insane to see the amount of people that flat out forget the importance he holds in the franchise. He's one of the first faces you're introduced to, and appropriately, he's one of the last faces you see in the franchise's main story, that being in V3. Now I know what you're thinking.
Mr. Content Creator, being recognizable isn't the same as being a good character.
And yeah, you're 100% correct. But I'm willing to die on this hill, damn it! Makoto's underrated as all hell, and I'm here to list out some of his positives. Mr. Eggman, not affiliated with the actual Eggman, is, aside a certain programmer, the purest character in the game. Even when he's at odds with someone, he won't openly insult them or even try to undermine their credibility in cases. He truly wants the best for everyone, even when it's completely utopic and nonsensical to consider that someone like Toko and Aoi would get along. He's, to be perfectly honest, a joy of a character to play as, because you always tend to view everything through his lens, which usually makes things only slightly better, still better. Makoto's kind, compassionate, and caring nature actually puts him through a lot of trouble. But that brings me to the next point. He learns from it. Sort of. Have you guys ever heard about, character development? Well, he's one of the characters that experiences that. A lot. Starting out from this incredibly meek and timid character who could only really talk to Sayaka, and going all the way to a powerhouse figure in the final class trial, stepping up to an equally powerful villain, is simply spectacular. It alone made the game worth it for me, in my opinion. Of course, I can hear the counter-argument, character development by association. And yeah, while that is true, that doesn't take credit away from Makoto's growth in my honest opinion. So yeah, overall, I really enjoy when he's on screen and part of the action. Not to mention it'd be a crime not to mention his greatest appearance yet.
I got it! Don't press it! This is Junko's trap!
What the heck? That guy from earlier is back again!
It's not again. This time, it's the real one.
Real? I'm Makoto Naegi. Makoto Naegi of the Future Foundation.
Holy shit, his appearance in Danganronpa 2 was amazing! Predictable? Absolutely. Does it retract in awesomeness? Hell no! I think I should call this the final result of everything he experienced through Danganronpa 1 and Ultra Despair Girls. Confident enough to play into Junko's hands and try to convince the Danganronpa 2 crew to stop her plan once and for all is just flat out incredible. Even though that appearance is short-lived, only during Chapter 6's class trial, we meet him once again in, well, the greatest anime of all time, Danganronpa 3. Now listen, I'm as critic of this installment as anyone else, but it does show one thing in particular. One thing that doesn't really show itself during Danganronpa 1, minus a few certain scenes. Makoto's regret. It's something we don't see often, and it hurts me every time I see it. Makoto at least partially blames his incapacity for the deaths of his colleagues. And while he does come to terms with that eventually, it's still there. With him. Forever. So to say he's bland? That's just BS. I'm sorry, it's just BS. But hey, that doesn't mean he's a perfect character. He still has his flaws. Dear Lord, he still has his flaws. Makoto. Why do I get an impending feeling of deja vu? It's like I've been here before, that's why. When talking about the flaws of Makoto Naegi, there are plenty of naysayers who are unfortunately correct. Like I said, he's nowhere near perfect as a character. So where do we start? Well, how about with...
But more important is the other characteristic, and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class.
I'll tell you, I bet some unknown quantum particle caused an atomic level spontaneous combustion!
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
Yeah, that. Makoto has a very big problem. He's the protagonist of his story, but it often feels like he's an extra whose POV just happens to be the main one during the plot. Now we, talking about the players, are no Kyoko Kurogiri. Therefore, for the majority of Danganronpa 1, we see no reason whatsoever to conclude that Makoto was ever meant to be the protagonist. That is to say, we don't see what she sees in him. It's entirely too aggravating when the main character of a game needs help to do his job, which is to help others. That really shouldn't need to be a thing. Count with me, guys. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4. That's how long this lasts. And if you're really nitpicky, the beginning portion of Chapter 5 as well, until Kyoko goes missing. I understand that it's part of his development, which is what we discussed in the previous point, but jeez! There really should have been a less abrupt growth for the egg boy. It makes a total mockery and undermines the protagonist's input in the trials. Specifically when the two characters who do most of the work consistently tell him to say their thoughts out loud. This makes the protagonist feel more like a tool to move the plot, rather than being the hero of the damn story. That's my main critic for Makoto. When he gets his shit together and actually does things, he can be a good protagonist, but he never goes above that. And his lowest points are, yeah, kind of low, which is super unfortunate, because I know that was done on purpose to make his growth stand out, but I think it was handled very poorly. Other than that though, I don't have any other major complaints regarding Makoto's character. I mean, yeah, he's a major goody two-shoes that basically falls upon every single good guy cliche, but I can't really nitpick that since Kodaka was clearly testing the waters with the story of the series in the first game. Playing it safe is something I can respect and will be brought up in later TWDs. But yeah, good shit. Makoto doesn't seem like that bad a character, and that's because he isn't in my eyes. Of course, my opinion might diverge from others, which I fully understand. It's just difficult to thrash on a character who I enjoy, so you could call it bias, but let's leave this for the conclusions, shall we? In the end, it's not even hard to understand why Makoto is underrated. He's often overlooked when discussing best characters in Danganronpa 1, and I can't even blame the people who do that because, well, it's likely that the flaws outweigh the positive qualities he has. While I disagree with that assessment, I do have to admit that Makoto isn't a great protagonist. My views on that haven't changed one bit. However, what I will never say is that Makoto is a bad character. Yes, he's your typical run-of-the-mill anime hero who's given a fancy title at the end of his adventure and influences the adventures of others. But he was the first in the Danganronpa series. And as far as I'm aware, the only one like that as well. The other protagonists, Hajime, Komaru, Kaede, and Shuichi, don't ever inherit Makoto's unwavering positivity and cheesiness. Well, except for Kaede, but nope, not touching that shit until we cross that damn bridge. What I mean to say is this. Is Makoto a good protagonist? I wouldn't say he's a bad one, but he's by far the worst of the series. Is he a bad character? Not by a long shot. Is he a model that other protagonists followed? In a way, yes. Whether be it because they were trying not to repeat Makoto's formula or actually reusing it, however short that was, he was and still remains a vital piece of the series. And that won't change anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of TWD. I would really appreciate if you left a comment with an opinion regarding both this video idea as a series to continue, and also regarding Makoto as a character. You know I love to discuss these things with you guys. If this video gets you guys excited for a possible series, make sure to let me know, and I'll release a poll in the community tab for you guys to choose the next character to dissect from Danganronpa 1. Before I start my usual outro spiel, a massive shout out to my moderator Satan666, yes I know you're jealous, for making the basis for the TWD logo. Thank you, my friend. And that is all from me. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, consider leaving a liking and subscribing if you are new to the channel. And if you want to be notified of future uploads like this one, hit the little bell, you know what to do. Also, if you want to join my Discord server or follow my Twitch channel for more constant updates, link to both is in the description below. I believe that's all. Stay safe, and until next time, peace!